Dylann Roof will represent himself tomorrow as a jury decides if he should live or die. The self-proclaimed white supremacist shot and killed 9 people in a prayer group at a church in South Carolina, summer of 2015. Last month, a jury took less than 3 hours to convict him in the guilt phase. Roof is representing himself against the advice of his lawyers. He told a judge he won't call any witnesses, won't present any evidence in the hearings. Prosecutors, in the meantime, say they'll bring as many as 36 family members of the victims to the courtroom to go face-to-face with the killer. Let's bring in Keisha Heaven, defense attorney, former prosecutor. So if he does end up representing himself, and he has an absolute Sixth Amendment right to do so, he could, on cross-examination, confront the survivors as well as the family members of the people he murdered.
Right, and that won't be good before the jurors deciding whether he gets the death penalty.
That'll alienate the jury.
Absolutely, they'll have no sympathy for him whatsoever.
You know, right now, behind closed doors, the judge is holding a competency hearing. Now, you may recall before the guilt phase, he did the same thing, determined that Dylann Roof was competent to stand trial. Is the judge doing it all over again right before the penalty phase just to make sure that some fancy defense attorney in the future doesn't claim this is an appealable issue?
Yes, absolutely, because oftentimes on appeal, a defendant will claim that, you know what, I represented myself, but I really wasn't competent. The judge should have never allowed me, so therefore this needs to be remanded back to the trial level. And I believe that's what will happen in this case, so the judge is probably trying to protect himself.
Sociopaths and psychopaths often try to represent themselves in murder cases, and they use the opportunity to deliver an opening statement, a closing argument, and it's just a rant.
Right. And narcissists, which is usually combined with those mental disorders. I think that's what is going on here. And most times when you see someone doing this, they actually believe that they can better represent themselves than an attorney who went to law school and has experience as a litigator.
You know, there's some really strange things going on here. Apparently, Dylann Roof is trying to get excluded certain evidence that he thinks would be embarrassing to his family. And then the judge said something rather dramatic today before he shut the doors and closed the hearings. The judge said, if you only knew what I know now.
Right. Well, the fact that he doesn't want any mental health or psychological evidence coming in shows that something's clearly wrong with him, because that's his only chance of not getting the death penalty. Why would he be concerned about embarrassing his family as opposed to being sentenced to death? So that shows right there he's making a big mistake.
Not calling any witnesses is a lost opportunity to try to gain some sympathy with the jury. I mean, you could call, for example, as they did in the Boston Marathon bomber case, somebody who says, you know, it's a much more severe punishment to spend the rest of your life in the equivalent of a cage than it is a quick, painless death by lethal injection. Somebody who could take the witness stand, an expert, and say, this guy's really got mental problems. It's not insanity, but intellectual deficiencies. Right,
and what the jurors will hear here is only him. And that's going to be a problem where they already probably see him as this murderer, evil person, and now he's going to be the only witness. If he decides to say anything at the sentencing, he's leaving them with the whole notion that he deserves to die.
And, you know, we saw, look, the taped confession, this guy is no genius. He has trouble articulating a subject with a predicate in a single sentence.
I believe he dropped out of high school.
Yeah, I mean, this is not going to go well, right?
Not at all.
All right, one of the mitigating factors is remorse, yet in his confession, absolutely no remorse. What if he gets up in a closing argument and says, I'm really sorry for what I did. I'm terribly sorry for killing the people that you love so much?
Well, the thing is, Greg, the jurors are the same ones who decided his guilt. So they already heard the evidence. They saw the evidence that was presented by the prosecutor. So his credibility is already shot. And oftentimes when defendants get up on that trial and they'll say, you know what, I'm innocent, I didn't do it, and then that sentencing, you know, I'm sorry for what I did, it doesn't hold well with the jurors.
Aggravating factors would appear to outweigh any mitigating factors meriting death. They would be multiple killings, substantial planning, and acts which were heinous, atrocious, and cruel.
Right, and that's what you have here, absolutely.
All right. Keisha Heaven, good to see you.
Good to see you too, Greg. Thank you.